everybody, I'm Elizabeth Hines from Total Wellness Health Coaching and the Autoimmune Free Cooking Club. Welcome back to my channel. If you're brand new here, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. I'm glad you found me. We cook mostly paleo. I know paleo is not really in vogue anymore, but grain-free, mostly dairy-free, but here you see milk and cheese, so it's mostly lots of fresh, whole foods. You might have seen one of my garden videos. We like to grow as much of our produce as we can, and I like to just show people how to cook. I grew up with grandparents, and both of my parents actually cooked and enjoyed cooking, and so to have those people whom I loved share their love of cooking with me helped me learn to love to cook. And I know that it's kind of a lost art these days, and gadgets like the Instant Pot have brought a lot of people back in, like, oh, I want this gadget, and they've slowly learned how to enjoy cooking. And so I just like to share recipes that my family enjoys. We do focus on health because we're managing some chronic health conditions around here with diet and lifestyle without medication as much as possible. And just a lot of it is the food. So I want to show you something fun today. We are going to use the Instant Pot. We're going to use these cute little molds, and we're going to make some little mini frittatas. So my children are now teenagers, but they used to be little. When we first started cooking this way, paleo-ish, we actually were very strict paleo for a while. They were little. They were like 4 and 6, and so I had to do a lot of stuff to try to get them to eat real food, but at the same time I didn't want to totally hide it. Like, we never really did smoothies. I wasn't trying to super disguise the fact that they were eating vegetables. I just wanted to make the vegetables taste really good, put them in an appealing form, have a yummy sauce, that sort of thing. So if you have little ones, which frankly, everybody likes finger food, right? But little kids especially, and maybe you want them to eat eggs and they're not super keen on eggs or some spinach, this will be a great recipe. I will link these little molds. They came from Amazon. They were inexpensive. They were 2 in a pack. They work really well. They wash really easily. The eggs just pop right out. I haven't used them for anything else. I've only used them to make the eggs, but you could certainly make little cheesecake bites. You could do all sorts of things with them. But we're going to make these little mini frittatas today. So I'm going to use the wrap that came with my Instant Pot. I just have a cup of water in my insert, which is enough to cover the bottom. I'm going to stick that in so I don't forget. And I have 5 large eggs. Now the volume is going to just vary a teeny bit because, even if you use all large eggs all the time, the volume isn't always the same. So it's approximate. If you, get everything going and you're like, oh, my little molds aren't quite full, you can put a little more filling in because they really just take a teeny bit. So I have 5 eggs and 1/3 of a cup of milk, and I just use regular milk because I'm not going to eat these. My husband will, and he tolerates dairy really well. If I were making these for myself, I would probably use almond milk, maybe coconut milk if I had a can of it open in the fridge. But they're not for me, so he gets milk and cheese. I need my salt and pepper. So 5 eggs. I'm going to put in 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I usually do 1/8 teaspoon per 2 eggs, but my sausage has some salt in it. And then some pepper. And my sausage actually is hot sausage today, so just a little bit of black pepper. My husband loves black pepper, so that will work well for him. Okay, so those are beat up, so I'm going to set them to the side. And you really want just about 1 teaspoon of filling. So you see how that's over the edge, right? So just using your teaspoon as a scoop, basically. You don't have to measure real precisely. So I always start with that, just a teaspoon of the filling. And today I have, as I told you, hot sausage. I have some yellow banana peppers because I have lots and lots and lots of them in my garden. And I have spinach because we love cooked spinach. We love raw spinach, actually. But everybody in my house will eat the cooked spinach too. And it's just a great way to get some extra nutrition in there. Spinach is one of those that when you cook it, you get put a little too much in that one. Some of the particular vitamins are a little bit more easily absorbed by the body. So that's all I have. I have the banana pepper, the spinach, and the sausage. So about a teaspoon. I'm going to shove a little cheese down in there. It's just easier to get your fillings in without the egg in there. You can always put a little bit more filling in. You divide up your eggs. Maybe they were kind of small eggs that particular day. And you can fill your cups to the top by adding a little bit more filling. This is a great use of leftovers because it just takes a teeny bit. You can put any kind of leftover protein or veggies or combination in. I mean, and it just takes a tiny, tiny amount. This is 1/4 pound of sausage, and it was about a half, maybe a third of a box of spinach. You know, the baby spinach leaves. They come in those little clamshell containers at the grocery store. And it was 2 of my yellow banana peppers. And look how much it is. So I'm going to make a double batch. But you could also just have this as a snack. Put it in some scrambled eggs the next day. It takes very little stuff to make a batch of these. I'll show you how full my pot is once I put these in. So this is the 6 quart. If you have the 8 quart, I don't think it's any taller, honestly. I think it's just wider. You may be able to, I'm thinking about, could you buy another set of these and put more in? So what I'm trying to get at is, could you fit more of these? Could you do a double batch all at once? Maybe so. I didn't try. I didn't even pay attention to that last time because I only have these. So I'm going to go ahead and keep filling these up. Okay, so the great thing about these molds, I don't know if it's the molds or the recipe or what, or my amazingness, but you can fill them all the way up. You don't have to leave some space for them to grow and like explode, or worry that it's going to explode out of the mold. At least when I've made them before. Now, Murphy's Law. But when I have made these before, I tested that specific thing because I wondered, do I have to leave, I'm thinking canning, so I want to say head space, space for the egg whites to expand. And in fact, I did not. I mean, I filled them to the brim and they cooked perfectly. So I'm really packing these full. Because you want to get as much goodness in there as you can, right? Now I could also have just cracked another egg and beat that up and poured a little more egg in. But I have this filling cooked. I mean, we could eat it. It wouldn't be any problem. I don't particularly have a need for it. So I'm just going to pack these guys full. Wonder if I can get it all in. Remember, it was 1/4 cup of sausage. 1/4 pound, sorry, and 2 peppers, and about 1/3 package of, I don't think I want to quite get it. No. I'm going to make it. About 1/3 package of spinach. Looky there. And you know what? Just pour it on and kind of scooch it in. All right. So I just want to put these lids on. And they just sort of, around each of the edges, they sort of snap on. You know what? This is why I had it out. It's easier to do it like this. Because they're silicone, they'll stick. They're not going to slide around. Oh, I did overflow a little bit. I think in this one, let's see, I could get one more of those in. I could get one more of those molds in, or so if maybe you could get a set of 3, you could fit 3 in. I don't know that any many of them came in a set of 3, but maybe. All right, so my sealing gasket is on. This is something that I have never done before until this recipe. All right, move my valve to sealing. We're going to cook these on low pressure. Okay, we want 10 minutes on low pressure. So manual pressure to move it to low. It's going to come on to high pressure. So this is my model, which is about 4 years old, but the buttons are very similar on the new ones. So you just want to make sure you get it on low pressure. Oh, no. I forgot to set my time. Eek. Okay. Oh, there it stayed on low pressure. All right, but we want 10 minutes. All right, low pressure, 10 minutes, and we want a 9-minute natural release is what I wrote down, but it's just a natural release, and it took mine 9 minutes, so I wrote that down. So that's it. It'll come up to pressure, cook for 10 minutes. We'll let the pressure come down, and then I'll show you how yummy they are. All right, everybody, so the cook time is over, and actually when I walked in, we had some company stop by, and so we were talking out on the driveway, and when I walked in, it said 7 minutes, had L7. L means lapsed time, so 7 minutes had passed, and the floater was down, so the pressure had already come down, and then it just took me a couple minutes to get things set up. So there are a couple ways you can easily get things out of your Instant Pot. So you could use a towel and kind of grab a hold of the, I don't know if you can see it from the overhead shot. My trivet has just a little, I can't even explain it. I'm going to have to show it to you. I prefer to use the hot pads because this stainless steel insert, when you're sauteing meat and vegetables or something, that's not hot when you're just cooking up from the bottom. But when the pot's been under pressure, it is hot, and I just like the extra security of something thicker than a towel. Because they're silicone, they're not, I mean, they're warm, but they're not super hot. You can see how it has this little, I don't know, like an indentation, that shape there. You can kind of get your finger on that and pull it out. So, I went on and on about fill them all the way to the top. And so mine overflowed just a little bit, but it's fine. Now look at these. Like, these are puffy, and these have a little indentation. But the lids stayed on. There's space in there because they attach right here at each of these little points. And so it's attached there, but it's not really attached in the rest, so it gives it a little space to grow. So they overflow just a teeny bit. That's no problem. But look how easy they pop out. I mean, I didn't grease them or anything, And they're so cute. So I have on my to-do list to try some little desserts or, all sorts of other things. And these are going to be jam-packed full of yumminess because you saw how I poured all the egg in and then I took the rest of my filling. So it's really about 3/4 of a cup of filling total. But use some leftovers, cook up a little bit of sausage, a little bit of bacon, a little bit of vegetables, shove in some cheese. It's like use up some scrap leftovers and make some yummy frittatas. But the 5 eggs, 1/3 of a cup of milk, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt, unless you happen to have a super salty, if you're using leftovers or your meat super salty or something, if you know that is salty, maybe just leave the salt out altogether. Pepper, pour the egg stuff in, pop them in there. It's a super fast dinner. Obviously this isn't a lot, so you'd want a big salad on the side or something, maybe some hash browns, something like that. But I tend to make this sort of thing for breakfast, and I make them and I put them in the fridge. They'll last just fine for a few days. Or pop them in the freezer, and people can just heat up what they need. But the last time I made these, they were sitting out on the cooling rack, and people just kept coming by and taking one and eating it, and so they didn't last very long. So I hope you enjoyed this recipe. If you have a new Instant Pot, I hope you learn to love it. I have lots of great Instant Pot recipes here on the YouTube channel, and I have many recipes over at my website, which is autoimmunefreecookingclub.com. That is a membership site, but there is a lot of free content there as well. And so I encourage you to go over and browse You can read about the paleo diet, about autoimmune disease and how we manage that with our diet, and you know, who I am and why would you want to listen to me, and just see lots and lots of great recipes there. And there are plenty that are for free and some that are for the members of my membership, and I'll talk about that another time. But I just welcome you here. Leave a comment, let me know who you are, why you're here. I'd love to get to know you a little bit. And don't forget to like and share and subscribe, and that will help keep our channel going. All right, thanks so much, everybody. I will see you next time. That's, over the edge.